Hi, if you're joining us, we're here with Raj. We're in Kathmandu, Nepal. Raj, why don't you tell us about your business?
Thank you so much and welcome to Kathmandu first.
Thank you.
To talk about my business, my company's name is Airlift Technology. So with the name Airlift, as you can imagine, it's related with the drones and aerial works. So we in Nepal, we are the pioneers in using drones to create high resolution maps. And this is done to replace the satellite maps that we have to buy from foreign countries. So that is what we're doing here.
Okay, so that was a big question. Why is there a business opportunity for you? Why don't people go to satellite maps?
Yes.
It's because those cost money?
Yes, those cost money, and also those are very, very
Expensive.
low resolution.
Low
First
resolution.
is very expensive.
Okay.
Number one is very expensive.
Okay.
Second is they are very low resolution.
So the market opportunity is providing a lower cost,
Right.
higher resolution
Higher
map.
resolution maps.
Who are your customers?
So our first customers are local governments, like Kathmandu municipality, Laipur municipality, Kirtipur. So there are like 753 municipalities all around Nepal.
753
municipalities there. So now they all need maps, because maps is the base to do every kind of development works, to plan everything, to make a city sustainable, to design roads, to design infrastructures, right? So you need maps for all that, right? And so far, everything has been done on satellite maps, right? But again, satellite maps has this limitation, as I said, it's very expensive, it's very low resolution, and it does not arrive on time, right? It takes at least 3 months, because satellites, they are on the space. So when they take pictures, there are clouds, right?
So I could be wrong,
Yeah.
but and other people and you might remember the name.
Yeah.
I thought there's a company called something like Maxar that
Yes.
is famous right now
Right.
because it's producing, is sharing with the public, I think
Yes,
is
right. Yeah.
advertising, maps of Ukraine. Sometimes the day that something happens,
Yes, right.
they'll share an image that's pretty high resolution.
Right, yeah.
And then people are commenting online, oh wow, I've seen this Maxar map.
Right.
And they're trying to figure out, who damaged who, how much.
Right.
So isn't that proof that it doesn't always take 3 months? Why is Maxar an exception?
So yeah, Maxar actually, Google buys the satellite maps from Maxar.
Okay.
So they are specialized in space maps technology.
Right.
But the resolution that they provide is 30 centimeters.
30 centimeters.
Yes.
Okay.
30 centimeters per pixel. That's the highest they can provide.
Okay.
What we are doing here in Nepal is we are providing a resolution of 1 centimeter per pixel.
1 centimeter.
Yes, 1 centimeter.
You can see my fingernail.
Right, yes. So if you put two
Right.
coins on the rooftop,
Yeah.
you can differentiate if it's a coin of 1 rupee or a 2 rupee.
Wow.
So it will be that
Wow.
detail. Like Maxar cannot provide that detail,
Okay.
right? And also, and as you must have traveled around Kathmandu, the houses here are so packed. There's no gap in between two houses, right?
Right.
So local governments, when they have to, digitize the houses and number the houses, they cannot differentiate between two houses from the satellite maps. It's because once you zoom out, it looks very beautiful, but when you zoom in, then you start, it starts getting pixelated.
Can you help us visualize what it looks like when you map a city? Do you
Yeah.
take the drone down the alleyways
Yeah,
and
no,
around
yeah.
the buildings?
No, so what we do is we use very consumer level drones, those used by photographers, videographers.
Like
They
a,
use
like
it,
a Mavic Mini 2?
Yes, like a Mavic. Yeah,
Okay.
but we don't use Mini 2, but we use
Yeah.
at least a Phantom 4 Pro.
So something about this big.
Yes, right. It's less than 2 kilograms.
Okay.
It's like around 20 centimeter by 20 centimeters.
20
something like
centimeters.
that.
Okay.
And so what we do is, photographers and videographers, they use the same drone to take high resolution photos and videos, right? And the same, what we do is we use a specialized flight planning software, and first
Call it
find out.
five planning?
Yeah, flight planning.
Flight planning,
Yes,
okay.
it's a flight planning software.
So you enter the
Right.
right.
Trajectory, right? So we point out how big area do we want to map, like at what resolution do we want to map, at what height we want to map. So we set all that parameters, and then we just click the button, and everything is done automatically.
We were thinking about questions to ask beforehand, and we thought we'd ask, do you do infrared? Do you do just visual spectrum? Do you attach LiDAR
Oh yeah.
scanning?
Right.
Which frequency? Like
so
what do you use?
we are currently using RGB cameras.
RGB.
Yeah, RGB cameras. They are normal cameras.
Red, green, blue.
Yeah, red,
Okay,
green,
so
blue
basically
cameras.
visual spectrum.
Visual
what our
spectrum,
eyes see.
Right. Yes, that's true. So LiDARs, again, they are a little bit higher level,
Yeah.
and those are used mostly in forestry and mining activities.
Right.
But for our purpose right now, we are trying to replace the satellite maps,
Right.
the need of satellite maps. So
Right.
for our case, RGB is enough, visual spectrum.
Okay.
It works fine for us.
Municipalities are clients. Any other clients that are big?
And
right now?
others one, they are like engineering consultancies, like those who want to design bridges and roads. So they are also our clients.
Okay.
They are from our private sector.
But not mining, agriculture, forestry.
No, we don't work with them yet because their requirements are a little bit higher than what we can provide to them right now. Yeah.
Why don't you tell us the story of how you got to where you are? When did you even think of this company?
Yeah. So I went to China in 2010 to
Tell us
do
about
my
that. Yeah. Undergraduate?
yeah, to do my
You
undergraduate.
did 5 years there.
4 years.
4 years.
4 years bachelor's and 1 year I worked at BMW.
You worked at BMW.
Yes.
You also got some kind of aeronautics training?
Aeronautical degree, yes.
That was your undergraduate.
Right, that must be.
And that qualified you to fly?
Yes. So like, are
you a pilot?
No, I was not a pilot, but we used to design aircrafts, right? So we know the base, how to design and how to fly an aircraft, right? So and in those days we used to design and fly our own remotely controlled aircrafts, so very mini aircraft,
Okay.
right? So it's an unmanned aircraft, mini aircraft. So
Right.
I was very used to with the remote control sticks, and I was good, used to with the flying, and I was really good. And then I worked at BMW for a year, and then I got an opportunity to come back home to Nepal to work for a local airline company. So they wanted an Chinese-speaking aeronautical engineer, not just aeronautical engineer, but someone who could speak Chinese.
Wow.
Because the airline that started here was a joint venture between an airline in Nepal and an airline in China. And so they sought me after in China, and I thought it's a good opportunity to work back home in my own field. So I came back, and then I worked at this airline called Himalaya Airlines, and it was a very amazing opportunity. But once I joined the company, and like few months after that, then the earthquake struck Nepal. And
2008?
Yeah, 2015.
2015.
Yeah, so 2015, like one of the biggest earthquake that struck Nepal, and like it killed a lot of people, like a lot of buildings were damaged. And in those days, like I just used to fly drones and make my own drone and fly it for a hobby, it was just as fun, right? But after earthquake, like people started looking for people who could fly drones for search and rescue.
Wow.
And I was like very sought after because there were very few people who could do that. And not just because I'm an aeronautical, but I really wanted to fly in drones. And that's when I realized the power of drones. I mean, it's not just a toy. It's just not like an object to like fulfill your hobby, right? But it's a very powerful tool.
So in the crisis, in the emergency, you
Right.
realize the value of drones.
Right. Yes.
In case we get interrupted, or in
Yes.
case we run out of battery or storage, I'm going to really quickly ask you
Yes.
lightning round 5 huge questions
Okay.
that seem to come up in any country, in any industry that relate to law. What have you learned that you can share with people about secrets to good negotiation, what to include in your contract, anything to do with agreements with other people that you want to enforce? What have you learned about contracts?
Yes. So contracts, because to be honest, in Nepal, you do not sign contracts very often. It's very rare. Everything is done like verbally.
Based on trust and
based on
relationships.
trust, yeah, and relationships. But again, we have signed contracts, and especially with INGOs, like for foreign companies. I've worked with companies in Bhutan and India, and
They want contracts.
Yes, and they want contracts.
Anything you've learned about negotiating with?
Yes, so negotiating obviously, and as a client, them from clients, and they always want the best work at the cheapest price, right? And we always want to deliver again. We want to deliver the best, but again, we will charge like a very good amount of price that will not, be like loss making for us. That will be satisfactory price for us, so that we can also deliver it well. So we make sure whenever we are negotiating, what I do first is, in the beginning phase, I used to like just say, okay, that's fine, because it was also a learning opportunity for me. But now I've done like hundreds of projects. I'm confident that I can deliver that work. Right? Now I can negotiate. I can tell, like, if they say, okay, let's give me at 50,000 rupees for 1 square kilometer, I say, I'm sorry, that is not in my limit.
Yep.
There are other companies and young companies who can do that.
I was going to ask
Yes,
you.
I
That's
don't
good.
know-
My next
yes.
question was the competition.
Yes.
What are the barriers to entry? It seems like anybody with a camera and a
Yeah,
drone.
yes.
I can pull out my
Yeah.
Mavic Mini 2 right now.
Yeah.
I could become a competitor.
Yes.
Could I?
Yeah. So like, you can become a competitor, but again,
So do you have
Yes.
what's your secret sauce?
Yeah.
What makes you different? Number
Yeah,
one. Number two,
right.
do you have any intellectual property?
yes.
And do you share it openly, or do you keep it a secret?
So yeah, as you say,
How do
like
you-
now drones are being accessible to everybody, right?
Yeah.
And any amateur can fly drone, and the software that we are using also is openly available. But our advantage in this case is we are not just giving you maps that look good. We are giving a map that is accurate, that you can confidently use to design routes. Because again, drones, we not just use drones, we also use like ground level DGPS, differential GPS that we call it.
Okay.
Right? So we use total stations.
What kind of stations?
Total stations.
Total.
Yeah, it's called TS.
TS.
Yeah, it's called TS. It's
What
called
does
total.
that? What does that
So
do?
total stations, we use that to get the accurate ground measurements. Because again, normally drones rely on the GPS that is fitted on drones, right?
Yes.
So that is not accurate. Drones GPS, they have a lot of error, right? But that's why to minimize that error, we use a combination of ground equipments and aerial equipments.
And that orients the
Right.
drone better.
Right, yes. And what we do is again, then there's a software part. Again, hardware part, we capture images. Now it comes to software part. Like now learning that software is again difficult part. Okay, now you need technical skills to learn that
Do you
software.
have modified software, or is it off the shelf?
It's off the shelf.
But it takes a while to master.
Yes, it takes a while to master.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
So then there's software part.
So this is one of those businesses and careers where the
Right.
experience affects your ability to deliver
Yes.
something fantastic.
Right,
Okay.
that's true.
So the IP then is really it's your own experience and know-how. It's,
Yes.
It's not something that is patentable. It's not
Right.
something that you exclude
Yeah.
from
Right.
from
So,
others
yeah,
from using.
That's true. Like it's not patentable. Right?
Yeah.
It's not patentable.
Yeah.
It's available to everybody.
Yeah.
Now it's up to like who uses that the best,
Yeah.
who makes the most out of it.
Yeah.
That is what it is now.
Right.
And that's why like now the competitors they keep coming, right?
Yeah.
This still now there are not many who does this work here in Nepal. I mean,
Yeah.
it's still unknown to so many people.
Right.
But again, now when technology and when internet is available to everybody, now
Right.
knowledge is for free, right? Now the competition starts coming. So what we make sure is we are always learning, we are always updating.
Yes.
Because if they take one step, we have to take another 2 steps more.
What are some of those steps?
Like for example, like right now we are using RGB cameras, right?
Right.
Okay. Now everybody has a drone with RGB camera.
Yeah.
Now our next step is to use lidars. Now we
You're
are
looking into
yes,
it,
we're
okay.
looking into it. Again, now the barrier to entry into lidar is very expensive.
Right.
The software is expensive.
Yeah.
The learning curve is even more. Right?
Okay.
So that is how I think we need to keep on advancing.
So speaking of also how you keep the differentiation, would you agree with what? Well, how do most clients find out about you?
Yeah. So most of my clients, it's all like from word of mouth. Yeah.
There
So
you
it's
go.
all from word of mouth.
So basically, you make sure that your clients are delighted.
Right.
They tell other people,
Right.
and that's. So do you spend anything on advertising?
But no. So far we only have a website and a
Yeah.
Facebook page, and that's it. We
So you have delighted clients,
Yes.
and that reputation
Yes.
matters more than the fact that it's off the shelf. They know that
Yes.
you have experience,
Right.
you've done a great job,
Yes.
and they come to you. Okay,
Right.
great. So we've covered contracts and IP.
Yes.
3 more of the big 5.
Okay.
Liability. What are the risks that somebody could get hurt
Yes.
with your product or your service? Who could get hurt? Who could be angry with you and look, you hurt me, you hurt my property, you hurt. Who can get
Yeah.
hurt by what you
Yeah,
did?
the first one is again the pilot itself could get hurt. Like me, I almost lost my thumb.
Can you hold that up to the cameras?
You see, I almost lost my thumb because of them. This is because of my drone.
Yeah.
Because it
Is there enough
huge
light?
drone, yeah.
What kind of a drone did that to you?
So it is called a fixed wing drone. It's just like an airplane.
Yeah.
So I was testing that drone just for one of the biggest projects. And once the drone landed, like accidentally, the propeller, it started spinning again, and
Wow.
it chopped off my thumb and everything. On
It looks like the tip of your thumb has been sewed back on.
Yes, and
It was cut off completely.
Yes, it was like this. The first, this one, the top part, it chopped off and flew. And so this one is done with the plastic surgery. So this is a very new cell.
Wow.
It got regenerated,
Yeah.
and the nail, so it magically came.
It's trying to grow back.
It's trying to go back
Yeah.
because even the doctor was surprised that the nail could grow back. So
Your
yeah.
thumb was cut down to the root of the
yes,
thumbnail.
Yeah,
Damn.
even the bone. So you see, this is very sensitive. It's a very new skin, and
Wow.
I cannot
Yeah.
press the horn very well in my
Okay.
motorcycle. So
Has it affected your ability to use a drone, ironically?
Yeah,
Has it affected your ability to use the...
Yeah, I mean,
Controls?
definitely, yes. I mean, in the first few months, I couldn't fly in drones at all. Yes, right?
Wow.
I couldn't fly my drone at all because this was still wrapped with the, like medical materials, bandages, right?
I wonder if that's a compelling still to use. Should we be smiling? I mean, we're showing an injury.
Yeah, but this is past, right? We have to go from here.
You can smile. I should look serious. That's very extreme, right?
Yeah,
Anytime you lose the bit of your body to your to your business, I think
I was depressed for like around 2 months because I left my job, my cushy airline job,
to start a new business.
To start a new business full time.
And here you
And here
cut
I
off.
cut off my finger. And
So
I was like,
this is great that you're sharing this because people have said to talk and ask questions about greatest failures or moments where you felt like giving up. Was that the worst moment? Was that the worst disaster you've had?
yeah, I mean, like, because I lost a part of my body, so it was one of the biggest loss, I would say. But again, it took a while for me to come back. And also, like, again, in Nepal, you see, it's very typical. Your parents, they don't want to start a business. They don't want you to start a business.
Why not? Why do parents not
Because
want?
they want you to, they invest so much in your education so that one day you can have a very comfortable job.
A stable job?
A stable job.
A reliable job.
Reliable job.
Working for somebody else.
Right, yeah.
And being an
yes.
entrepreneur is seen as very risky.
Right, it's very risky.
Are you almost seen as like a loser? Like you couldn't get a real job, so you had to figure out your own? Is that how you see it?
No, because like to me, like from my parents' perspective, from my relatives and friends' perspective, they don't see me as a loser because because at
Not
first,
now, but at the beginning were they
at the
scared?
beginning-
They were like, "What are you doing?"
No, because I already had a job.
Okay.
I was already working in a very reputed company.
So they knew you could.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and but they thought, when I left the job, they're like, you're foolish. Like, what are you doing?
Okay.
Like, I mean, you are taking a wrong move.
Yep.
Like, business is not for you.
Yeah.
And definitely it's going to be hard. You don't have money. Business takes a lot of money.
What about the startup capital?
yeah.
This is a classic question.
Yes,
Not
right.
related to the big five.
Yeah.
But did you use your own money? Did you borrow it
Yes.
from your family? You used your own money.
I
your
use my own money.
Your own savings.
My own savings.
So we should clarify that you don't sound like somebody who's brought up in absolute poverty. Would you
yes,
say you were
no.
middle class?
I would say I'm middle class.
Okay. And you were able to study abroad,
Yes, right.
get educated.
Yeah.
Okay. How much? Do you mind if we ask roughly how much in savings it took to acquire the equipment and the
Oh
software?
yeah. Around in dollars, it's $4,000.
$4,000
Yeah,
to start.
$4,000 I started.
Okay. You want to give us an idea of how big your company is? Is it just you, or do you have employees?
So now I have around like 9 people working
9 people.
with me, right?
And this is over how many years did you go from your $4,000 investment to
like in 2018 I started my company
2018.
with $4,000, and now we're in 2022 with 9 people.
4 years? You went from
4 years.
0 to 9. Now that relates to the last two questions. One of them being human resources.
Yeah.
Are there legal challenges? Is there a legal form that you can tell us about that these employees take? We heard an interesting piece of terminology that there's a difference between unskilled and skilled workers in this economy.
Okay.
Educate us. Tell us about what you've learned about law and business and working with other people.
So again, hiring, staff and employee, who matches your requirements, your skills, it's just very difficult to find. And in my case, I had to train them because the area that I'm working in is very new.
Do they work as pilots? Do they work with the software?
They work with the softwares and some work with the piloting part.
Okay.
So I had to train them, both in software and the hardware part. And but again, in piloting part, I do most of the work myself because again, it's just a very difficult thing, because,
and you love it.
Yeah, and I love it also, right? And so that's what I've been doing so far. And in terms of the legal part, again, in Nepal, as a startup, there's no government subsidies, or something that would motivate people to start business. It's actually, and sometimes I feel like I'm paying more tax than, a very old and wealthy company is paying.
And why is that? Could it be
because
they have connections, they work out deals?
Right. They have connections, they work out deals, and they pay lower tax rates. I think, and we are paying more tax, even to like employees. Like I have 9 employees in my company, right? and we have to pay them provident fund. We have to pay them, like insurance. We have to pay their.
What is the provident fund? Is that like insurance if they get sick?
No, provident fund is like for future fund. It's like
their retirement.
For their retirement. Yes.
Is that required by law here?
Yeah, it's required by law.
That you create a savings account for your employees.
Right. So it's besides salary, we have to add a 10% of their salary into their provident fund account. So that has to be deposited by the employer.
And I'd love to come back to that question because let me ask it right away. Does that discourage you? Does it make you think twice before you hire an employee that there's that requirement that you put money into a savings account? Does it affect your judgment?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, it definitely discourages you to hire more people. Because again, the more you hire, again, you have to keep on, giving them more salary, more provident fund, and all that. But now I'm focused more on growing the business. Because if I grow my business and if I have more customers and clients coming in, I think paying that would not be a problem.
Not a big deal.
Because at first I was like very concerned about like how much what I should be paying them, so I should hire less people and make more out of it. But now I think in a different way. I think it's rather than reducing the expenses, I would rather increase my income so that expenses would not matter much.
Last of the big five is business formation.
Yeah.
Did you hesitate to form a formal company under the law?
Yes.
And when you're just starting out and nobody knows you're doing this, do you really need a company?
Or
did you think, you know what?
Yeah.
I should form a company immediately because at some point they will notice me and I might get into trouble that I don't have a legally registered company. How does it work here?
So in my case, because even before I started my company, I was doing this work. Because
as an independent individual.
As an independent.
And you're allowed to do that.
Yes, we are allowed to do that. And because I was working at the airline as a full-time employee there, and I had free time, so I used to do that, and I used to show my work to my potential clients, the people who loved that area, who was within that area, right? And then I started getting works, and I started doing that, and then I got more bigger clients with bigger projects, bigger paychecks, and now they wanted bills, they want receipts. Okay, they want bad receipts from the government.
So the clients wanted formal paperwork, and then you thought, "Damn, I need a formal."
Right.
Are there options? Did you look at? Were there different ways to form a company, or is there only one?
Oh, so there are different ways to form a company. Like if you just want to start as a small business, you can be registered as this MSMEs, like in a cooperative, small, where you don't have to pay a lot of tax. But again, your income ceiling is also limited, right? And then there is, so I registered under the Office of Company Registrar. So it's called OCR in Nepal. So I registered under that law. So to me, I don't have like a ceiling. I mean, I can earn as much as I can, but again, I have to pay 25% of my like profit to the government, and that is what is legally needed. But again, there is no such ceiling for my company right now. So I can invest, I can bring in more investors, I can bring in shareholders, and I think this is I think I chose the right platform to register as a company rather than going registering as a small company, because it would have limited me. It would not have let me grow more than what I could do.
And speaking of growth, do you have a vision of where you want to be in 5 years, 10 years? What you wanted to be doing when you stopped working?
Yeah. So like in
can
5 years.
Can you imagine stopping working, or do you think you're going to work until
I mean, nowadays there have been a lot of concept about retiring early and going around the world.
What's your vision?
My vision is like, I mean, definitely I would like to not keep continuing to. I think I've traveled enough around Nepal. Now I want to go beyond the borders of Nepal and taking in more international contracts. And so recently I did my first international project in Bhutan. So that is the first drone project ever done in Bhutan.
Really?
Yeah. So I was lucky. Thank you so much.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I took.
Why did they choose you?
So
connections?
Connections. Right? Again, from word of mouth. They had been working with a local company here in Nepal, and now they wanted a drone mapping, and so that local company could search here and there for a drone mapping company in Nepal, and they found me.
Okay.
And they first went to India. They were looking for a company in India. They found it, but again, they were very expensive.
Wow.
For the same job. I mean, we were giving them a better price, and so they chose us. And
how long ago was this?
That was like 7 months ago.
Quick clarification question. When did you injure your thumb? Was
Oh,
it right
yeah.
in 2018?
In
Right?
2019.
Did you already have employees that could fill in for you?
No, not at all. Actually,
still on your own?
Yes, right. I was still on my own then. And actually, I had trained my brother to fly drones.
Okay.
Because he was also interested, so he knows to fly it well as I do.
And so was it possible within a month with a bandaged thumb to start using the
No.
controls? How long did it take?
At least I think around 8 to 9 months.
Oh my.
Yeah. So
From 2019
Right.
until almost 20 into 2020.
yes, until mid of 2020.
into
And-
the
yeah.
pandemic.
Yes. And
So you-
after that pandemic, then I sat home for a year doing nothing.
You couldn't do any work during the pandemic.
Yeah, because again, my thumb had started recovering then,
Yeah.
but again the COVID hit, and like for a year I was like.
But it's
doing
outdoor
nothing.
work, it seems. It seems that you can continue doing drone mapping outdoors.
Oh
during
yes,
the
I mean
pandemic.
we were not allowed to go out.
You weren't allowed to go
Yeah,
outside?
during lockdown. Yeah.
You had a
Yes.
pretty strict lockdown.
Yeah, and
When
so-
could you start being active again?
So it was I think almost in the beginning of 2021. We started again
Okay.
going out.
Vaccines were around?
Yes. No, I think vaccines were not.
In Nepal?
Not yet. Given
Second
at the
wave,
time.
after second wave,
Yes.
I guess.
Yeah. I think it was after mid 2021 it started giving vaccines out.
Okay. So 2021 you start, and somewhere between 2021 and right now in August
Yeah.
of 2022,
Yeah.
you hire 9 people?
Right. Yeah. So like now we have we are during that lockdown period.
Yeah.
So what we started another one project of our own. It's called Gully Maps. Gully Maps. So
Like valleys.
right. Like Gully is alley. Alleys.
Okay.
You see,
Alleys.
Kathmandu is famous for alleys. There's so many alleys here.
So I thought you were meaning gully, the English meaning. Is gully a word in Nepalese?
Oh yes, it's a Nepali word.
For alley.
For alley, yes. Right.
Interesting that it also means valley in English.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, gully.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I
So
didn't
there
know
you go, you're welcome.
Yeah. So during lockdown, so what happened was like we were working in drone mapping, right?
Yeah.
We had experience in that, but then suddenly the e-commerce boom. Everybody started buying online. Everybody started delivering at their homes.
Wow.
But what happened was, whenever we buy online, we always had to give them directions. Go from here, right, take a 100-meter, walk under the street, and then take a right. And it is so, confusing, right?
Can I ask a question
Yeah,
to
yeah.
clarify? So as an outsider,
Yes.
this looks like a very confusing city to navigate.
Right, yes.
A lot of, like you say, alleys.
Yes, yeah, a lot of alleys. Yeah.
And so, did even local drivers get
Yeah.
lost in the alleys?
Yes,
All the
absolutely.
time.
All the time.
Okay. So people were trying to explain, no, take a left and a left and a left and a
Yes,
right.
yeah.
And so that were the need. So
Yeah.
So who's the client then? Is
Yeah,
it the
yeah.
mapping companies like Uber Eats? Who operates?
No,
It's not
no,
Uber
yeah,
Eats.
so
There's
now-
no Uber Eats.
No, there's no Uber, but there is again local version of Uber Eats here.
There
like
is.
Foodmandu, Bose, Sostodil.
So there are local versions
right.
of food delivery apps.
Yes, right.
And they're programmed here in Nepal?
Yes, they're programmed all here in Nepal.
And they started to buy
Yes.
your maps.
So now we have finally built a map of our own.
Okay.
Now we are selling our softwares to them. So
Wow.
far they've been using Google Maps. And again, Google
It
Maps
just wasn't precise enough
yeah,
for
right. It's not
Kathmandu.
precise enough for Kathmandu.
Okay.
And that's why we have we have mapped each and every alley of Kathmandu.
Wow.
And we have embedded in our maps.
How long did that take?
Almost 1.5 years. So we started that from 2020 August.
Yeah.
And we did some researching because that idea popped up in my mind during the lockdown period. I was just staying idle at home. I did nothing, and I bought an oximeter to measure the blood oxygen level, and I had to literally explain the delivery guy
Yeah.
for half an hour. He
And that's
keeps
when you
getting
re-
lost.
and that's when you
Right, yeah,
realized.
right, and that's when I realized because I have high resolution maps.
Yeah.
It can be clearly seen.
And
right?
you couldn't believe that a
Yeah.
driver doesn't have this in their hand.
Right, right.
And that's when you thought,
Yeah.
and so you contacted the delivery companies
Yes,
and you said, this is what I can give you.
yes, right.
And they immediately say
Right.
that they
Because-
need this.
Yeah, because that was the
Right.
biggest pain point.
Yeah.
And that's when that hit me really hard because I had already, because whenever I went for a training for entrepreneurship, the trainers, they focus on saying so try to identify the problem.
Yeah.
Don't focus on the solution, the problem, right?
Yeah.
And I never understood that, what is it
And
trying
here
to
the
say?
problem was,
Yes, and I was finally
Yeah.
okay. The problem was very clear to me,
Yeah.
and I went and before I started building gully maps, I went and talked to the e-commerce companies, the food delivery companies, the parcel delivery companies. I talked to them. What are the problems that they are facing when they are delivering parcels and their clients' orders, and everybody said maps. Google Maps sucks.
So,
Google Maps not
so
accurate.
you suspected there was the pain, you felt the pain,
Yes.
you verified, you
I
asked
verified,
them,
You're right. I first went in.
is it just me or is it
Yes,
really a pain?
right.
And did they say immediately, did you even try to negotiate those deals or did you just, let's get to work?
No, I mean like this is, and I asked them like, would you buy? Would you buy if I had such kind of like, come on, just let us know. We will be the first comment. Like we'll be the first customers. Like everybody said that.
And it's worked flawlessly? Never a complaint? Do you ever have complaints that it didn't work perfectly?
No, I mean like there's a lot of room for improvement.
Okay.
We're still there are so many alleys here.
Yeah.
Where we ourselves don't know that there are alleys, right?
Yeah.
So there are customers, there are people users who tell them, okay, there's alleys missing here.
Does your software, does your map allow the same thing like Google Maps, that people can interact and correct
Yes,
things?
right,
So there is the element of a crowdsourced content
Yes, right,
creation
yes.
that, you know what, okay.
Yeah.
And then does your software automatically fix it or does it one of your employees need to fix?
Our employees need to fix. So
That's why you need 9
yes,
people now
right, yeah.
to monitor the input and the
Yes,
corrections.
right.
Can you do this anywhere?
Huh?
Where else do you, besides Bhutan, where else will you expand? Will you go into?
Oh yeah. So no, right now Gully Maps it is only focused within Kathmandu Valley.
And how do you spell it again? G-U-L?
G-A-L-L-I.
G-A-L-L-I.
Yes.
Gully Maps.
Gully Maps, yeah.
But you say, it sounds like you're saying gully.
Gully. Yeah. We call it Gully.
Gully.
Gully. Yeah.
Gully.
Gully. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So we spelled it for
yeah.
those who are listening.
And when I went when I went to Bhutan for this project,
Yeah.
drone mapping project,
Yeah.
I roamed around the city of Thimphu.
Simple.
And I realized the same problem. I mean, Google Maps, there's so many alleys that are again missing in Google Maps.
Yeah.
And Google Maps only shows you the major roads which are visible from satellite maps.
I can tell you another. Do you want another piece of user feedback? Sorry, Google.
Okay.
At least we're mentioning your name, Google. Watch our phones start to offer all kinds of different results next time we log in. But anyways, Google, and for you as a tip, what I noticed is that in certain mountains,
Yes.
even in Europe, where I thought it would be more refined because maybe more use of phones in the mountains,
Yes.
it identified walking trails as roads that you could drive on.
Right.
Did you notice the same
Yes,
thing?
right. It happens
It's showing you
Yeah.
a map that
Right.
you know
Right.
no car will make it.
Right, that's
And it says, oh, just drive here. It's a
Yeah.
10-minute drive. You're like,
Same
no
here.
Google, no Google. Sorry, Google. So
Yeah.
you think you can fix that?
Yes, we can fix that here.
Because you're actually doing visual.
Right. So now,
Yeah.
because we are working manually, we use a very little of an AIs and all that. Everything is done manually. So now we segment the roads,
Right.
whether it is walkable, whether it is stairs,
Yeah.
because again there are a lot of hills, so there are stairs as well, and
Wow.
whether it is just a motorcycle could enter.
So you can differentiate motorcycle trail,
Yes.
walking trail,
Yes.
walking trail with steps.
Yes, with the steps.
So you can even designate for the people that don't have full ability to walk. You
Oh,
do you have that ability to identify?
No, I mean that one. Not
Is that
yet
going to
because-
be in the future?
Yeah, maybe in the
Yeah,
future.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe in the future. But right now, when the roads that are accessible here,
Yeah.
it's like is it walkable,
Yeah.
or is it stairs, or is it like in some narrow alley with
Wow.
where a motorcycle could go in?
fantastic.
Because right now here, a walkable trail, as you said, the Google Maps shows you a truck could enter the trail. Like,
And not true.
yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
People get to go and get stuck there. So even I have faced myself, as you said.
Is there a question that you wish I'd asked you?
Yes, I mean.
What do you think I should have asked you?
Yeah. So, what do you think after like coming to Nepal?
Yeah.
What do you think about the business prospects? Do you think is there any potential of businesses and startups in Nepal to grow as big as it is in UK or Europe?
I think you know much better than I do.
Really?
I haven't been here that long.
Oh, okay.
But I think that your story, definitely, I don't know, other people that are in Nepal, what they think of your story, whether it can the same thing can happen for other people in other industries. We're still learning.
Yeah.
But if you can do it, then surely there must be a few other opportunities, right?
Yeah.
What do you think?
In Nepal.
Yeah, when people would what do you think watching other industries? Like I understand a lot of people grow food here,
Yes.
but then a lot of food is imported.
Yeah.
Is there an opportunity for people to scale up food businesses here? What do you think?
Definitely there is. I mean, I think, but again, before starting business, people, I think, before going all in, I think anybody should do a very first detailed study, the potential of the market size and the risks that are involved and the knowledge that you require to do that actually the business. And I think that is really required here because what I've seen is again why a lot of people fail in business is because not because they don't have cash, a lot of cash, but because they don't do a lot of studies. I mean, if your business works, I mean, and then I was saying, man, this guy's earning a lot. Why don't I start this business? And then I started going and doing the same business that I do.
Right.
And then starting, but I don't know each and every detail of your business, right? So then people lose their money, their business, and I think that is why people don't want to risk.
And it seems like here it's a factor everywhere, but especially here,
Yes,
I've heard
yes.
that relationships matter.
Yes, relationships matter.
That good relations with every sector matter.
right.
Certainly, trust with clients has come up a lot.
Yes,
That trusting with clients matters. What other questions? Does anybody else who's here have a question?
Yes.
Yeah, let's hear one.
So first of all, I wanted to ask you a question about your workers. For example, if some of your workers may want to leave and start something of their own, aren't you afraid of the fact that the person has been working for you so long, you've done such a good job, and now he's leaving and you have to find a replacement to withstand that level?
Oh yeah, and this is one very good question. Yeah.
Do you want to repeat the question as you understood it? In
Yes.
case-
So your question is, what I've understood is like, am I scared or not if my good employee would leave my office after working for such many years, right?
Would you be happy for them and say go for it, or would you say, oh, you're going to steal all my good ideas?
No, I mean, like, as an employer, like, definitely it scares me because losing a very my good employee is it's also asset for the company, right? But again, I think the things have changed now because the way I also left my job at the airlines, right? And now, like before, in our parents' generation, they used to stick with the same company until their retirement. Right? They hardly left the job. But now the trend is not anymore. Like people, they work for a year and two, and then when they find a good opportunity, they just leave. Right? I mean, and you cannot, even if you raise the pay, if they don't like the company or if they don't like the atmosphere, environment around the office, they just leave. So I think I have made up my mind in a way that, okay, someday my employee is going to leave my office. But that doesn't mean that I treat him really, I treat him bad or I don't give him good incentives that, he doesn't stay. I mean, I don't do that. I mean, they are free to go when they have a good opportunity and better opportunity because it's also about their personal growth because that's what I think. And but again, I try to keep them in my company as much as I can. So far, no one has left, right? Luckily, and it also hasn't been long. I mean, since I've hired them, but so far we have all worked together. We are all of the same group, and they joined my company because they believe in my vision. They really like my idea, and they wanted to do something different, not just some other company, doing outsourcing works.
So you get them,
right.
it feels meaningful? Is that
Yeah,
what
it
you're
feels
saying?
meaningful for them, right?
Okay.
Because they feel
solving a
they are
problem.
part of that, right? Because they feel they are part of the company.
Yeah.
They're solving real problems.
You know what just hit me? Are your maps used by, are there ambulances when people get sick or injured?
Right. I mean,
Does it help save lives?
Right. It helps save lives. It is very meaningful.
When does it save the life?
I mean, like when like in the case of like disaster, let's say there's a like usually their house is on fire, and then there's emergency. And you have to call this fire truck. Like there's a fire over here. It's like then fire truck calls. Where is it? It's this landmark, and where is this landmark? Like, oh my God! So what you can do is just use our map.
So Gully Maps is used by
right.
the fire department?
Fire departments and ambulance hospitals, and these e-commerce and food delivery companies.
Okay.
So right now we are just focused inside the bag.
And the fire and police and ambulances are
police they don't use right now.
Police not.
Yeah.
Are these public sector fire department and hospitals or privately run?
They are public sectors.
Public sector.
Yeah,
So
public
so this is the municipalities are
Yes,
partly
within
paying for Gully Maps so
Right,
that they
yes.
the emergency services.
Right.
Maybe we might continue recording a second segment, but in case we don't, in case we need to cut off because of lack of memory or battery, I want to ask you two more questions.
Okay.
What's the dream come true in terms of where you would expand next? Is India the dream come true? Is China? Is Europe? Is America? Where's the place you would go? Is Pakistan? Who knows? I mean, where would you go next?
Yeah, right. Pakistan, I just say, right? Like,
is Pakistan on your list?
Yeah.
Where's it most probable that a Nepalese thinks I'll grow?
Bhutan, Pakistan.
Pakistan. Is that because they are also along the Himalayan range?
Right.
Kind of.
Yes, because my focus is not to go to India or China or Europe because those areas are covered very well by Google Maps. I want to focus on in areas where Google Maps has not focused much. like in South Asian countries, Nepal, Bhutan, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. So I think so. These are my areas, go-to areas.
If you ever go on a business trip to Afghanistan,
yeah.
after it stabilizes, that'll be very interesting. We'd love to follow the story of how that works out for you. Actually, would you do business with the Taliban? Would you have a problem with that?
I don't even know in that.
Or would you think, hey, I'm providing a service that saves lives of ordinary people, and that matters more?
Yeah, I think that matters more. I don't know about how business works in Afghanistan. I mean, I just have a vision. Because as I said, my vision is to go into South Asian country. Yeah? I mean, I don't
underserved populations.
Right, underserved population, right. Yeah.
I have one question. Like, after Taliban, we have so many problems, and still you are doing good with your business.
Yeah, I think I'm doing well enough. Because it's well enough that I can pay my employees.
Okay, that's the definition of success.
Right.
Breaking even, paying your employees. Does having a lot of profit matter to you? Is that a driving motivator?
No, I don't think. I mean, definitely as a business, I want to make a lot of profit. But again, just making a lot of profit, because I was making good money at airline. I think if I had to,
it seems like you're having fun. You seem like a genuinely happy person.
Yeah.
Are you every day like this?
Yeah, of course. Like even before coming here, I was with my client, and tomorrow I'm going to Mustang with my client. I'm waking up at 5.
Near Himalayas.
Near Himalayas. It's in the Nepal-China border.
Oh, I'd love to go with you.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing place.
Will you be? How long will you be up there?
I'll be there for 4 days. So it takes like 1.5 days to reach there.
Okay.
So and I will work there for a day and another 1.5 days.
Once we finish recording, we'll talk more about that. Last few questions. So, is there any kind of a number that you're comfortable sharing with us?
Yeah.
You went from zero business activity about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Besides the 9 employee count, besides having all the municipalities of Nepal, plus a contract in Bhutan, is there anything that you could give us as an indication of how much money you're making, or do you want to keep that private?
Okay, just to give an, because again, as a business, there is no fixed number that I earn every month. Sometimes there is no business at all. And sometimes then I get so much business that I cannot take all
these
the work.
contracts. You don't get a subscription for the map service?
No. I mean,
it's not a constant revenue?
For the drone mapping business I was talking about. Okay. For the gully maps, again, they are not in a subscription basis. They are on a use case basis.
They only pay when they use.
Yes, they only pay when they use. Again, I mean not because again that is used every day.
Yeah.
So there is again some days if they have a lot of business, then their users. So our customer is the e-commerce business, right? Yeah. Their customer is the normal people.
Yeah.
So if the normal people use Gully Maps a lot, then they pay for those clicks, the number of clicks. If someday there's number of clicks reduces, then our pay reduces.
And this is this a secret? Do you think that in other economies that are let's call it what it is, there's not as much money out there in the communities.
Yeah.
This is the way. Would people have agreed to a subscription basis?
I think we tried subscription basis in the beginning, but they didn't want to go for a subscription basis.
They wanted
again
pay as you go.
Yes, they pay as you go because as subscription basis you have to pay no matter if it's used or not.
Yeah, and who likes that, right? Unless you don't care about the price point. Okay, and maybe the very last question. Okay. Your number one piece of advice for somebody watching this, whether it's one of my students or anybody out there, what's your number one piece of life advice? For somebody who's almost lost a thumb, for somebody who's this happy, in the land of the Buddha, you are unusually happy. So what's the secret to life and business?
If you want to start your own business, I would say, again, it's very difficult, but again, it's not something not doable. You learn it. I mean, you don't learn it from your childhood, right, from school. I think you have to learn it. It's a very never-ending learning process.
Yes.
And again, as my trainers taught me, focus on the problem, not on the solution.
Your trainers were in China, by the way? Is that where you learned it?
No, I got training in India.
In India.
And in Vietnam, I got this opportunity because I took part in competitions and I won these competitions. And then I got this opportunity to go for training. Okay. And wherever even in Nepal, I went to training, and wherever I go to training, again, they are always focusing on problems. Yeah. Identify the problems, validate the problem, and come up with the idea, right? And then we'll start building solutions.
And you said to plan and research, but at some point, I think you're going to agree with this. Yeah. Act. Start.
Yeah.
Start with an experiment, and if it fails, just modify. Yeah.
Yes. So again,
don't wait forever.
But don't wait forever, right? Yeah. Don't again. You do the market study, but again, don't rely everything on data, right? You have to at least make a prototype, test it. Yeah. And if it works, and you will only know if it works or not without testing, you will not have any idea if that works or not. So you have to build a prototype. As you said, you have to act on that. Just doing research will not work. You have to build a prototype, and I think you will have to spend your time, your money on building that. And if it works, I think then it's time to validate and it's going to scale up. And that's what I would say.
Namaste. You say here? How do we say thank you again?
Dhanyavad.
Dandabad.
Yeah, dhanyavad.
And thank you to everybody here who helped make this video.
Yes, thank you so much for
Dandabad.
taking your time.
Namaste.
Namaste.
It is very interesting conversation.
Wow.
Was that good? How long
Yeah.
was that?
That was
40
good.
That was 45 minutes? Oh my.